Bryan Reynolds trade rumors, Freddie Freeman to the Rays, the shift is banned, pitch clocks, bigger bases. We actually have Major League Baseball news to talk about today, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I haven't been able to talk about moves or rumors or anything in what feels like months, and we finally got something I'm going to jump all over. And honestly, the rest of this lockout offseason, I'm going to make videos on any rumors, on any trades, on any free agents, on any new news that comes out, because it is my job. I have to actually make videos at some point, and it looks like this lockout might be lasting a little bit longer than we expected. So if you guys see anything on Twitter, anyone who's a credible source dropping some rumors, dropping some news, make sure you tag me in it at GiraffeNeckMarc on Twitter. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, as well as subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of the content. And let's start talking about these crazy rumors, because they're crazy, but like so crazy they might actually work. First and foremost, let's talk about this rumor about a Bryan Reynolds trade. Now, the credibility of this is maybe up in the air a little bit. I feel like the talk got started because it was mentioned on Mad Dog Radio, and then I saw this tweet online from Pittsburgh Pirates Rant Podcast at Brian Cornell 16. Was listening to Mad Dog Radio. Reportedly, Bryan Reynolds' trade is down to two teams, Marlins and Mariners. Pirates reportedly want a Marlins deal to include Max Meyer. They want Mariners to be around Emerson Hancock, both viewed by Pirates as potential aces. And to me, I mean, if I'm a Pirates fan, I'm not particularly happy. Bryan Reynolds last year took a huge step forward for that team and for that organization. And as a player, he looked like the player we once saw back in 2019, where he had that great rookie season. And in fact, he even improved upon his game. It seemed like he was swinging for more power. It seemed like he was more comfortable at the plate. And in center field last year, he was one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball. I mean, Bryan Reynolds was no slouch last season. Reynolds last year was like a 6-win player according to Baseball Reference WAR. 24 homers, 35 doubles, 8 triples, and 90 RBIs, hitting .302 with a .390 on base, .522 slugging, .912 OPS. Even for a god-awful team in the Pirates, he basically was top 10 MVP voting in the National League. He was absolutely incredible, and I think they can get a lot back. And while I am both big fans of Emerson Hancock of the Seattle Mariners and Max Meyer of the Miami Marlins, I think both of them can be potential aces, a couple tweaks here and there. This, to me, feels like a really, really bad move for the Pirates. I don't understand why they would do this. They have a lot of great pitching prospects in the minors. Their farm system is getting a lot stronger. I know you can get a lot for Bryan Reynolds, but it feels like those guys to be the headline pieces it's just not enough for me. Bryan Reynolds, to me, is going to be one of the best center fielders in baseball. He was borderline top 5 center fielders in baseball this past season, and I think next year with a strong year, he can be one of the best in that elite category. I mean, defensively, offensively, he has the complete package. So for the Pirates, who are rebuilding but getting stronger without a doubt, who have this great young core that's going to be coming up in the next few years, why would you not want Bryan Reynolds to be a part of it? And yeah, he's 27 years old, so by the time that they are actually really competitive, he'll be maybe closer to 30, maybe 31, but he doesn't hit free agency until 2026. So for me, if you're the Pirates, maybe I guess you don't see yourself being far enough along that Bryan Reynolds is really going to be a part of this rebuild or the new future of this franchise, but he's just too good where I wouldn't trade him. Pirates fans, I want to know what you think. What do you think about trading Bryan Reynolds? Like, you guys have traded enough players. Keep your guys, keep him here. He's really good. He should be a part of the Pirates' future, but I guess they don't. And I mean, honestly, for the Mariners and Marlins, yeah, I'd be all over him. If I'm giving up Emerson Hancock or Max Meyer, to me, if those are the main pieces, yeah, I'd pull the trigger. I mean, for the Mariners, they do have a lot of outfield depth, I feel like, especially with Kelenic and Taylor Trammell and Mitch Haniger and Julio Rodriguez, who's going to eventually come up and be an MVP. How many good players do they need? It's not really actually a problem by any means, but really, how many good players do you need? And is that really the missing piece for the Mariners? Makes them better, but they kind of need like a more reliable infielder, maybe at third base, maybe even at shortstop, maybe even a little bit at second base because you got Ty France over at first. Probably use a little bit more pitching too. I don't know if Bryan Reynolds is necessarily the piece the Mariners need, but again, if you're just giving up Emerson Hancock and maybe a few other prospects, I'd be willing to take that risk all day long because Bryan Reynolds is an all-star. He's one of the best center fielders in the game. And then if you're the Marlins, which is super interesting to hear because of course we know Derek Jeter stepped down because he said that the Marlins are not trying to win. Grabbing a guy like Bryan Reynolds is a winning move because that is your franchise center fielder for the next 4 or 5 seasons, and we know that they grabbed Avisail Garcia. We know that they grabbed Jacob Stallings. They got Joey Wendell. They have great pitching. They're putting the pieces together to put a much better team on paper and on the field than they have the last few years. I know Jeter says the Marlins aren't trying to win, and I probably believe him. I think that there is probably somebody still in the front office who isn't necessarily trying to do the most to have the best team out there. They're probably still in that rebuild phase a little bit. But grabbing a guy like Bryan Reynolds definitely makes them a very dangerous team. Like right now, if the season started, I wouldn't feel crazy putting the Marlins as the third best best team in the National League East, especially with how the rosters are currently constructed. You grab Bryan Reynolds, I think they're definitely better than the Phillies, like almost 100% the way that rosters are currently constructed. So definitely make them better. I don't know. I'd love to know what you guys think. Like Bryan Reynolds, Mariners, Marlins, maybe another team's a better fit. If you're a Pirates fan, do you trade him? To me, again, it's coming from Mad Dog Radio, and we know Chris Russo is just on his own planet sometimes, so I don't necessarily know how much truth there is behind this. But a Bryan Reynolds trade rumor is something that I'm interested in, especially when we got no real baseball news coming out. And then another interesting rumor that came out is Freddie Freeman and the Tampa Bay Rays. The sauce boss himself, the man who has me blocked on Twitter, but don't worry, we got podcast Twitters that we can find the tweets on still. John Heyman said, the low revenue Tampa Bay Rays made superstar Freddie Freeman an offer before the lockout. Yankees very interested, Jays, Dodgers, others could fit. It's a surprise the Braves didn't lock him up before the lockout. They remain in the mix. New daily feature, actual baseball news, which that's cool. We should be talking about actual baseball stuff. But let's talk about the Rays first and Freddie Freeman. Does this make sense? Yes, Freddie Freeman is arguably the best first baseman in baseball. I mean, really, it's like Vlad Jr., but Freddie Freeman, 1A, 1B, they're both unbelievable. And the Rays kind of do have a bit of a hole at first base, like they use it as a platoon spot. So getting a guy like Freddie Freeman, you can slot him in for 140, 150 games a year, and he's going to be really, really good. I mean, he was an MVP in 2020. He had an unbelievable season in 2021. He's only really ever been good when he was in Atlanta playing first base. We know he's one of the better hitters in all of baseball, and for the Rays, this could be a big left-handed bat that would help lengthen this lineup a whole lot and kind of give them the flexibility to play around with some other positions. Now, is this the move that the Rays need to make? No, by no means do the Rays need to get Freddie Freeman. I don't think that this is the difference between them being a borderline playoff team and a World Series contender, but it definitely makes them a lot dangerous, and it's almost an addition by subtraction because I really do think the Yankees are going to make a super hard push for Freddie Freeman, especially when they were very much in on the Matt Olson market. We had to give up players. You can bring in Freddie Freeman just for money. You can just sign him. You're not losing anything outside of monetary value, and you have your franchise first baseman there. Anthony Rizzo didn't work out as well as they hoped. Luke Voit is still very good, and honestly, probably could be their DH if Giancarlo Stanton plays the outfield. Freddie Freeman at first base in Yankee Stadium, that's a huge addition to their lineup. So for the Rays to then go get Freddie Freeman, it's almost a bigger addition by subtraction because you're keeping him away from the Yankees. You could be keeping him away from the Blue Jays, who John Heyman says are very much in the mix for a guy like Freddie Freeman, which is kind of crazy to me because I guess then Vlad Jr. goes to DH. There's a lot of things to talk about with that Toronto Blue Jays roster that they can do. They have the flexibility, but it's nice to see a team like the Tampa Bay Rays, who has been good, who have been contenders, who have been to the playoffs, who's been to the World Series, trying to go out and get even better. And this is a team who John Heyman in his tweet, like he said, is a low revenue team, and they're looking to spend money. They're looking to go get the best players. I think that's huge for the game of baseball. I think that's what the players want. They want these teams to try and be competitive by using the free agent market, by paying players more, by getting in talent instead of just trying to win the absolute cheapest way possible. And for some teams, they don't even try to win. I mean, look at the Pirates. They're okay with losing the best player on their roster right now to hopefully continue to push on to that rebuild. Like, that's fine. That's a philosophical way that they want to run their organization. But it does suck if you're a Pirates fan that the best player on your team right now, there's a good chance he isn't there when the season starts or at some point during the season when he gets traded. If you were asking me, I still think the Dodgers and Freddie Freeman makes way too much sense because you can move Muncy to second base, you get some more flexibility. Freddie Freeman, California kid, playing first base for the Dodgers. I mean, I know they would have a lot of theoretical first baseman on that roster, but Freddie Freeman in LA just, it feels right. Will he do it? I don't know. Still, I don't know how the Braves aren't giving him the money. I don't know how they aren't locking him up as a franchise lifetime Atlanta Brave. That to me feels almost criminal that he is not going to possibly finish his career in Atlanta. As a Mets fan, I'm happy, but what he's done for that franchise, the years he went through when they really were terrible, and the fact that he won a World Series for them, won an MVP, he is probably one of their best players in their franchise's history. Again, in a great history of that franchise. They have a lot of great players. He's one of the greats. It's just crazy to me that he might not be on that team next year because other teams are more interested and the Braves are kind of cheaping out. Freddie Freeman's a stud. Whoever gets him, you're going to be very, very happy. And then the last bit of information to talk about is in terms of actual baseball. We got some new rules coming in. We've talked about the DH, talked about expanded playoffs being two things that are going to happen, it seems like, in the 2022 season. Well, there's also some more changes that are coming. The shift apparently is banned. No more shifting in baseball. What does this mean? What are the exact specifications? We have no clue. There hasn't really been any information on whether it's you have to have two guys on either side of second base, whether nobody can be on the outfield grass. We don't know what the specific rules of banning the shift are, but we do know right now that the way that the shift has been the last few years in Major League Baseball is going to cease to exist. And there's been a lot of talk around Major League Baseball Twitter and just baseball fans in general about what this is going to do to the game, what kind of shift it's going to make. To me personally, I think it is going to inject more offense into the the game, and the reason I do it with air quotes is because it's going to be artificial offense. There's going to be more hits, but I don't necessarily think it's going to lead to a massive overhaul of how baseball is going to be offensively. I do think that strikeout pitchers are more valuable than ever. A strikeout is way more important now because it's just going to be harder to get outs on ground balls than it previously was during the shift era, which I think is what we're going to call it now. A guy like Joey Gallo is probably going to be able to raise his batting average by about 15-20 points just because he's going to have line drives to right field that aren't one hoppers to a second baseman. Instead, they're actually going to fall in for hits. You're going to see hits up the middle fall a little bit more. I think it will give more action to the game. I think there will be a lot less outs on balls that are in play. But really, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily see this huge move that no shifts is going to make towards baseball. The runs per game have kind of stayed pretty average along the league. I don't think this is going to stop people from wanting to hit home runs because that's still the best way to score a run is to hit it out of the park. You physically can't get out when you hit a home run. You still hit a ground ball, you're still out. You still bunt, you can still get out most of the time. Baseball's still an incredibly hard sport to put the ball in play and be successful at. But the fact that they're limiting the shift or banning it in the way that they're phrasing it is definitely going to be beneficial to hitters. Guys like Jeff McNeil, who put the ball on the ground a lot and make a lot of outs into the shift. That's going to help him. A guy like Jose Ramirez, who gets into some hard outs. A guy like Joey Gallo who gets into some hard outs. It's going to be beneficial to their game. It's going to be beneficial to pitchers who are strikeout pitchers because it's going to make them a lot more valuable. And contact pitchers who maybe don't have that top quality stuff to get swing and misses, who are big ground ball pitchers, it might be a little more difficult for. There's still a lot of information that's going to come out about what is actually going to be allowed in terms of the banned shift, because again, you can still probably shift on the same side of the infield. And all these teams still have a bevy of information where they'll be able to play and put guys in the right positions to still maximize the ability to get outs. But I do think that this is honestly, I think this is a move that doesn't hurt baseball. It can only help it a little bit. And for the casual fan, when you go to a game or you're watching on TV, I think seeing more hits, which this should lead to, will help get those people more interested. For the baseball fan like me, even for the average baseball fan who maybe checks the box score every day and watches 1 or 2 games a week. I don't necessarily know if this gets them to watch more. I don't know if it gets them more interested, but I really do think it does help with the casual fan, which it seems like Major League Baseball is trying to appease here. The real news here, though, is that there's a stalemate. There's absolutely no movement in terms of collective bargaining. The CBT threshold is still a big issue. The player arbitration pool is still a big issue. Minimum salary, playoffs. There's still a lot of issues going on between the Players Association and the MLB owners. It sucks. I want baseball back. I'm frustrated, but I'm going to do my best to continue to give you guys content throughout this lockout. I'm going to try and give you that baseball content you're craving and needing. So hopefully there's more stuff to talk about here as we go on through the week. I'd love to talk rumors. I really would. Any baseball right now is baseball for me. So let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what you think about the Bryan Reynolds trade, Freddie Freeman rumors, the new rules coming into Major League Baseball. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts and opinions. I also want to give a quick shout out to former editor of the channel, Jackson. He actually just got a brand new job working full-time, so we're not going to be having Jackson on the channel anymore. So make sure you guys give Jackson a big shout out in the comment section down below. Huge help with editing the last few years. He's been an absolute beast. Wish the best for him. And thank you so much for helping me out with the channel. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more Major League Baseball content, because again, I'm going to be coming at you with as much as I can. Follow me on all my social media at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Don't forget to tag me whenever something happens so I see it and I can make a video about it. And that's where I'm going to wrap up today's video, guys. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my most recent upload. Click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.